Alright, so before I go into some agenda, let's talk about the chapter real quick. And no nonsense, let's just talk about the shit we really give a fuck about. Alright, so the cover page is cool. I do like it. I do like what's going on here, but you just get your hands off. But everything else is cool. Alright, so the chapter starts. We get to see baby Loki. He's getting abused by rocks. We'll talk more about that in a bit, but am I the only one that sees rocks and kind of thinks about Eustace Kid in this one panel specifically? I know people are going to tweak it because I'm comparing Eustace Kid, who's a bomb to most people, to the greatest pirate, but nah, it's not what I'm doing, but they kind of look the same. You can't lie. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about here is that Rocks pulled up to Emu's his flower room, and this guy has so many rooms, and man has a flower room, he has a throne room, he has that one room that was cold that had the giant straw hat. And I keep thinking Emu's a woman because who the fuck as a man goes to a flower room and just plays with butterflies? I'm not trying to be labeled anything right now. It's not a really like masculine thing to do. I mean, you could still do it and still be masculine, don't get me wrong, but just it's kind of just interesting. I don't know this guy's gender. But yeah, Rocks is posted up. You see Gunko, one of my goats. You see Rocks posted up with a gun saying, yo, Emu, I got these guys, these kings. What the fuck are you gonna do about it? And you know what's really cool about this? Because some people probably want to be like, Rocks is the strongest character of all time. No. Some of the coldest lines were dropped. It literally said, yeah, Rocks pulled up on Emu, but he knew what he couldn't do. Basically saying he knew he couldn't do shit. He said something about a Davy Jones pirate. That's gonna be very important because I always knew about that name because of SpongeBob. I'll be quite honest, because you guys know that one green ghost on that ship in SpongeBob, he was always talking about Davy Jones' locker and he was a pirate, so that's how I kind of knew this was some shit. This was some pirate lore. But yeah, Rocks can do shit to Emu, so Emu's top 100%. And he said, I'll be back. And people are saying, oh, Blackbeard's gonna come back and do what Rocks couldn't. Blackbeard's not doing shit either. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but Emu's just, yo, this shit's bigger than pirates, guys. Alright, so this guy ends up leaving the flower room and ends up running through Mary Joa and even killed an admiral, which is fucking ridiculous. I won't lie to you guys. Only for the fact that it said he died to his wounds later. Like, that's crazy. Like, a guy died to his wounds. Like, we never really hear that. Some people are blowing it out of proportion. Like, just because he died, like, I get it, it sounds crazy, and I do agree, it is pretty wild that dialogue is being used. A lot of people would end up dying if nothing really happens afterwards. Like, we just watch good fights with PG conclusions most of the time. Like, people get thrown into jail, or people just end up defeated on the ground, but this is obviously a different guy we're dealing with. So yeah, he runs out of the throne room, or the flower room, and ends up seeing Harold, and these guys have a crazy clash. Now, for some reason, guys in One Piece, whenever they see someone, they like to be like, ha 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 ha, state your name. Like, what is all that about? I don't owe you shit if I'm these guys they're saying that to. So yeah, he says his name is Harold. They have a nice conquerors hockey clash, and they didn't split the skies or nothing, but I think this is equally as cool. It is said the clash between the two strangers blew everyone within a 5-kilometer radius pretty much away. They ended up pushing each other away from the clash, and then Harold ended up jumping off the red line. And then we get to see some lore of Rocks and how this event pretty much made a name for himself. Everything he did went through the seas. He stole ships, he recruited new people, he targeted pirates, he joined the Davy Back fights, of course. And then we ended up seeing the crew he built. And my oh my, these guys are they're interesting. Obviously we see Shiki, we see Whitebeard, we see Stussy. We see this guy. I mean, bro, like, you gotta go on a calorie deficit, brother. That's all I'm saying. And yeah, we get to see why they're even on his crew to begin with. And now we cut to Rocks trying to recruit Harold, and he's in Elbaf because he believes if he recruits Harold that they will be unstoppable and take over the world. And Loki is in the back hearing all that, and he starts to tear up. Like, this is the guy that cooked Loki, by the way. And he's listening to this saying, this guy is saying some real shit. Loki's a fucked up child. Like, he's been through a lot, and the first thing that actually resonated with him was Rock's words. And now we know why he looks up to him, and now we know why he wants to take over the world. That's the gist of what happened in the chapter. Rocks went crazy, Rocks is ridiculous, and he's definitely debatably the strongest pirate we ever seen. Now let's go back to when he cooked Loki, because I want to spend a little time on this for the people who are here for agenda. So if you guys are on Twitter for the past few months, you must have seen this photo floating around. There's no possible way you could have missed it, and if you didn't, good, stay off that toxic app. But what this photo here is, it's from Kengan Ashura, I believe, or Berserk, or Baki, I really don't know. But what we can recognize is our favorite world's strongest swordsman, or to some people, the world's most skilled swordsman, morphed onto the photo. This photo came to fame in order to send a message and one message only. Whatever the fuck is going on, whatever the topic is, whatever character is on screen, it is simply Mihawk upscale, as long as they're a swordsman. And this whole notion of Mihawk upscale got so famous, people started to take it a step further and make those images with so many different characters and basically use the same logic for them. You got one for Sanji upscale, Rayleigh upscale, Vista upscale, and I think I even seen Chopper fucking upscale. Based on what we're looking at right now in this scene, we got some Mihawk upscale, which we already kind of talked about, so I'm not going to spend time explaining it. I'm going to talk about it in my mindset, so if you guys want to see my mindset, go check the previous video. But more importantly, if we're getting Mihawk upscale, as you can see from the title of the video, we're getting Zoro upscale. Rox's swordsmanship was renowned for its brutal impact akin to a hammer or cannon fire. It was said to blow everything in its surrounding vicinity. Why this upscales Zoro, you may ask, or why this upscales Mihawk, you may ask? It's pretty simple, and some people don't like to hear this, but this is typically how the stories, or typically how a narrative is just gonna be written. This confirms that Rox is a swordsman, right? I think it's very logical that we can assume that Zoro will surpass every swordsman to ever exist in One Piece. Ryuma, Mihawk, Roger, Shanks, oh my god, that one probably hurt people. And now Rox the Xebec. And why that's so crazy is that Rox is looking like the strongest pirate we ever seen. That just goes to show you how strong Zoro must be at the end of the series. Now, some people don't believe Zoro surpasses every swordsman, which is kind of weird. Like, if you look at Zoro's dream and look at all the time he mentioned he wants to be the greatest swordsman, this isn't just talking about in this era, it's talking about of all time. He wants to be the greatest swordsman ever that his name reaches the heavens. He wants to be at the top. And as our main character, like I said, speaking about how narratives go with people who have these type of dreams and they're the main characters of the show, they're typically going to be looked at as the most infamous, the most notorious of what they want to achieve. And with Zoro, he wants to be the strongest swordsman ever. And what is Rox? A swordsman. So it's simple. That is why Rox is going to be a Zoro victim. Now, how is this Mihawk upscale? Well, I'll tell you right now. It's simply Mihawk upscale because for Zoro to reach the pinnacle, we got to start looking at who's going to make him that strong. And the only guy I can think of right now is Mihawk. When Zoro has his final fight with Mihawk, that's gonna be the guy that upscales him to his position as the strongest swordsman ever. So for Zoro to eclipse Rox, Mihawk at least has to be on a level to where he's as strong as Rox. I know that sounds fucking crazy to people, but hey man, it is what it is. If Zoro becomes the greatest swordsman ever, he gonna have to beat someone who at least is on par with the other strong swordsmen. So yeah guys, that's all I want to say about the chapter. I can't wait to see the next chapter and what we get with Rox. I hope we do get to see a little bit more of Rox, but me personally, I want to go back to Sanji like a Conqueror's hockey, but we'll see what it is. I know I sound like a degenerate, so I mean, yeah guys, let me know what you guys think down below. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.